What's happening, guys? We've got another Monday night scan, not Sunday night. Happy July 4th. I hope everybody had a fantastic long weekend. We've got the day off, 4-day week. I probably am taking off Tuesday myself. I might be there out of the open, but then splitting pretty quick. And probably business as usual the rest of the week. Typically, we'd be up at the beach, but we did some renovations and had a couple issues, and long story short, we're not up there yet. So I will be up in the area at my sister-in-law's, but probably not staying for the full week. Yeah, big week. The market's been awesome. LI and NEO has been fantastic. AMC's been producing every single day. And then we got that big home run, LYT. And anybody that's been paying attention to Sunday videos knows that that was one of the many that I've been tracking for quite some time. Starts to sound all those bells, whistles, volume starts to trade, and I'm there. So that was a really, really good opportunity. I hope many of you guys were able to take advantage of it. Obviously, if you were in the room, you saw the liquidation post, and it was pretty easy to kind of see that, they weren't playing around that day, and it was just sell, 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 sell. So, been staying out of trouble. It's really the key for me anyway is to realize what people are super, super excited about, and just avoid that name until later on. If everybody starts to get excited about something, there's a ton of volume, starts to flip, just wait. Who cares if you don't get the top? It's going to be a lot less of a headache if you just come at it a little bit later on. And sure, maybe you miss out 30, 40, 50 cents, or maybe you save $2 per share and you're happy about it. So, that's really been the biggest thing for me is the ones that people are most excited about, forget about it and just come back to it later on. The second thing is understanding and realizing when things get in a channel. You had EVFM stuck in a particular channel. You had HTGM, perfect example, 110 to 120 we're talking about. Really, really good opportunities this week. Staying out of those sideways channels. And I feel like you couple those two things is where most people have issues. The ones that they're most excited about, and then they get into a sideways channel where there's no edge at all, but for whatever reason you feel the need that you have to trade it. You have to be in there, and maybe you're going to get this slam down, but then it starts to break out, and then you cover, then you get back in, and it's just a continual disaster. And so avoiding that has been incredible for me, but you also have to think about all the emotional and mental capital that trying to figure out that trade takes, right? And if you just avoid all of that, think about how much more room you have to find other better trades that will fit your personality a little bit better. Maybe you get on the right side, you let them work, and you don't have to be, ready to go, pushing a button every single second, trying to figure out what this particular trade is going to do. Anytime that I don't feel comfortable in a trade, I kind of look back, and you'll notice that either A, it's the hot stock of the day, or B, it's stuck in a channel, and I'm probably oversized one way or the other trying to figure it out. So whenever I know I have an A+ setup, whenever I'm in a trade that I know is good, I'm very comfortable. I can walk away from my computer. I'm just relaxed. But when there's a trade that I should not be in, I'm the opposite. So I try to avoid that. And you can just on your emotions alone how you feel, how you're acting, whether or not you should be in that trade. So avoiding that's been super, super helpful. Anybody that has been either watching obviously in the room, but Twitter as well, I warned, AGRX. Very, very easy to avoid. Maybe harder to be patient on the short side and capture the entire trade, but the warning that I gave, 250s, that's fine. Like, trade it however you want, but I will not long this trade because at some point they're going to hammer down that offering. It's not going to be good. And so, a lot of people got short anticipating it, got squeezed out, and then it was just down, 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 and they finally, filled the book and got the offering off. That's fine. But Whether or not you got the short, that doesn't matter. But if you were long into that offering, that means you avoided or ignored every single warning that was out there and you traded it anyway. And so just be aware. Know what you own. Be aware of those situations. There's always going to be some that maybe fire one down randomly, but when it's just screaming at you and it's so obvious that it's coming, then, you know, if you do take that long and you do lose on it, I mean, that's on you. Identifying channels we talked about. The dumpers are back, LYT. We talked about that. So the biggest thing there is make sure when these situations happen, record. And any of the big moves too, any of the big momentum trades, all of it, record it. And the reason for that is because that's how you're going to identify when and why. You need to see the action. You need to see it staying heavy. You need to see it continue to fail. You need to see the volume continually picking up on the offer. And just by me saying that is going to mean nothing to you. But watching it over and over, and you see me every single day in the room on one or two different names, say record now. You want to record this action. Maybe it happens that moment. Maybe it doesn't happen at all. It's not about, I told you so. It's not about making a big call. It's about understanding, you know, why at this time it's important to watch the tape. And what happens is over time, you're going to have 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 different examples out of maybe 20 or 25 recordings. So maybe 10 of them are just a waste. But you can go back and look and review why and how that happened and what were the signs that are consistent on each one. And when you see that on the next trade, guess what? You're more prepared and you can make your own decisions and not have to rely on, you know, what other people think or wait for them to say something for you to gain confidence. No, it's about seeing it yourself, see it in tape, see it, the action firsthand. And it's free and there's zero risk to record your screen. And you should do it. It's, you know, I don't want to say you're lazy if you don't, because, you know, if you're watching this, you're not lazy. You're getting prepared the night before, you're watching Sunday video. But if you do find yourself, I'll record the next one. No, just press record at the beginning of the day, every day. And if nothing happens that day, fine. Throw the recording away. But make sure you just record it. You never know what you're going to catch. You can go back, review it, and make yourself a better trader. Last but not least, think about the big picture, thought process, right? And that really helps me sometimes, is where, you know, it's coming in, they trap, and you just kind of think about, okay, well, they're going to try to work people out in this range. And think about going on the other side. Where would you be scared? Where would you be covering? Where, like, emotionally? And if you start to kind of think about how this trade could play out, let it play out and let it prove that. And it's a different way of, you know, kind of thinking rather than trying to figure it out on the fly. But all right, if they trapped here, the next level, they probably want to blow people out towards this level. Then if it stays heavy here, then, you know, there's a good chance it starts to fade. However, if it holds, probably squeezes out, whatever. Play it out ahead of time. And a lot of times you'll see that it's going to help you with a little bit more clarity, because what happens is you get in, you start in, and you try to see what you want to see. You know, you try to rationalize why you should be right, why you think you're right, and it's just not the right way to do it. So think about, you know, if this happens, where would it go? How would it play out? And, you know, I think it'll help you with your trading. So anyway, we will do the t-shirts in a minute once I go to the second part of scan, because I forgot to do it for the first part. But we'll get right into Sunday, or I guess Monday night video in a moment. All right, guys, so for the second part of video, as always, I'm not a financial advisor. These are not buy or sell recommendations. This is for educational and informational purposes only. The idea here is to kind of give you a glimpse of how I get ready, how I get my conviction, how I get prepared to hopefully make you a better trader, make you more prepared, and come up with your own ideas that, give you higher sense of conviction when the trade starts to set up. As always, anybody that leaves a message, leaves a comments in the comment section with a timestamp of your key takeaway. I try to get everybody. So Giant Human and Alan Romano, you're the winners this week for the t-shirts. But like I was saying, all you got to do is just leave your key takeaway, and we pick different winners every single week. And next week we'll be doing scans, and I might as well do a month of IU as well. So I just had SIGA up here just from Friday, but this is one of those examples, where 1150s was holding, and I came in looking to short SIGA on Friday, and I wanted to participate on the short side. Started in 1150, started to confirm up, started to ramp up, came back, retested VWAP right over here, and then started to head back up. There's no reason after it comes back and rechecks in with VWAP, if it holds, there's no reason to continue to be short. Sure, you can stay with a starter if you want to. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're scaling at that point, or really if you still are holding on to your starter, there's no real reason to. Wait for it to fail under VWAP. Wait for it to fail under this prior line. Otherwise, it's just a waste of money. So I actually had a nice day. I left pretty early on Friday, but had a nice little breakout. I checked it midday when I got up to the lake, but just a good example. A good example, especially over here too. Comes back, rechecks into with the VWAP. If you're short, you got bailed out, faded down, and you're still fighting it or adding against, you want to be on the backside. You want to be under VWAP if you're being patient, if you're scaling, if you're letting it, work. You don't want to let it work when you're above and hitting highs. You're going to get run over. Let's get right into this week. NEO, LI, AMD, and MU, I think, is the ones I have. Yes. Those are the main watches for me. Obviously, the market came back really nicely on Friday into the close. We've had a lot of this where it flushes down, comes back, starts to consolidate, and then starts to rally. So be aware of that. We have come down quite a bit on the SPY, so we do have a lot of room to run. All these things, all these names that have come in are they've come in hard. So as much as there's been a lot of nice fades still, be aware that if you do size into something and it's not going your way, don't fight it, because as you know, bear market rallies, when those things want to go, they can go. So, I still am in the same mindset where I don't think we're going anywhere in the near term. I think, it's probably a year or two of kind of consolidation. I think we'll probably head up for a little bit, but I don't think we're going to do anything crazy. I think we're going to be stuck in a pattern sideways for quite some time. So, that said, LI and NEO have been fantastic every single day off the opens, and you can kind of get an idea the reason for my trade, and I posted it on Twitter on Friday, but pretty much the same concept each and every single morning is you kind of identify what the key levels are, and when it either rips through one or flushes under one, that's an edge for me. Maybe it's not an edge for everybody, but for me, I'm good at reacting to that situation, so I have been, and I do that on NEO, I do that on LI, and you want to identify key levels where the prior support was, all that kind of stuff. You can even go back down here later on in the day. You can see this prior peak over here, and then the day before, big V-shaped recovery, but I always want to look at areas where 3590 was the one that I gave the room this particular day. So you've got this V-shaped recovery we always talk about. Comes back, checks in with VWAP right here, but you've got that exhaustion area. So you want to identify those levels where it's exhausting against. That doesn't mean you go hammer in, because if it breaks, obviously it's going to have an outlier move. But it's smart decision to assume that it might have trouble there. And if you start into it, great. If you scale into it, great. But make sure, take advantage of these flushes. You can see prior support, checks in with the VWAP, prior support. They all follow the channel. So be aware of that. AMC has been fantastic every single day. That's another main watch on. That's actually failed follow through. But AMD and MU, I will probably trade these the next couple days. Off the open, there's been, the MU just had earnings. So usually I'll surround that around like 2-3 days and take advantage of that. AMD is getting pretty cheap there too. But that's just what I've been trading lately. LI and NEO every single day. And I will continue to do so until the range starts to tighten up. And it hasn't yet. Usually I only surround a big move for 2 or 3 days, and then I move on to the next one. And they have not gone anywhere. So I'm not going anywhere until they stop and the liquidity goes. I still think we have some huge opportunity coming, and it doesn't matter if it's long or short. It's still soaking up, but it's been on one hell of a tear. And let it go. So we'll see what happens with that. But those are the main watches. There's not really anything to prepare tonight for them. We got to see if they're gapping up, gapping down, how they react. One thing I will say is, I never go crazy size unless I'm obviously on the right side. I start in and scale. But don't get crazy conviction prior to 9:45 or 10 a.m. because things are going to change. It's going to rip one way, flush the other way, come back. Focus 10 a.m. plus. Follow that trend. Get a feel for what's happening with that one. Failed follow through. AMC is fantastic every single day. It's always given like a nice little pop, but once again, look for similar areas where you can get a little bit more maybe conviction to starting into a position or assuming that it's going to have trouble with a particular spot. Same thing, you can see, the area of congestion where the support typically is. And a situation like this is when it comes in, usually I want to be there and take advantage of some covers, but if it starts to base there, it starts to perk, there's no reason for me to stay with any size. It's just wasted money when it starts to rebound. I can always resize if this level starts to stay heavy. So I always like to draw those lines, keep myself honest with that. YSG has been on radar for a while now. Been watching it since pretty much this day. 120. Had a nice move up, sat back, dip got bought. Same deal, dip got bought again, and nice little speed up on Friday. So I'm watching this one like a hawk. Hopefully it continues to go. I'd love to see it go 220, 250, some sort of blow off. And then ideally we see it come all the way back to, where it started. So seen this setup before. It looks pretty good for that. EVFM, this one, higher the better, failed follow through. I would have, I actually thought that it might have a chance on this day to maybe have a nice little Friday squeeze, but it looks like it was the last hurrah move and faded off. So this one's another good example of not getting too aggressive. Between 105 and 115 was the levels that I gave the room. And the reason for that was we identified them the prior couple days. And that was over in this area where it kind of exhausted out all the shorts, came back in, exhausted out all the shorts, came in, started to peak, came back up. And so what happens is people get a little aggressive. They, it pops up to 105. They get in there, they add. This thing's going to go back under 1. And then all of a sudden it goes to 115 and they're freaking out. So I never want to put myself in a position where if it goes up to 115, I'm sized in too much and I'm just covering because I'm emotional about it. I want to be able to make the decision when it gets there. Okay, yeah, it's started to base at 115. Maybe I should cut it off. It's starting to go 118, 120. Or does it push up, fail, and it's just working out those folks that are too sized in. And that's exactly what happened. And as you saw it, started to fade off and come in. So that's another reason why you should be posting or putting these channels on your screen, just to remind yourself okay, if I'm sizing it over here, I need to be emotionally disconnected at this line. If I'm filled with emotions at 115, then I'm in too big. LYT, nice one. I actually held this one short over. I tried it early on. This exhaustion move came in. I started to kind of rally back, so I was leaving, so I left the trade, and then it started to squeeze out again. The goal on the broadcast on Friday was, we've seen this before, and they either do one of two things. They either ramp up 150, $2, and come right back down round trip, or they do that midday trap and then squeeze out, and then they walk. So it's just a matter of not getting bent up if they decide to trap it and squeeze out. And that's exactly what happened. Went nuts. Everybody's thinking, oh, wow, this was just, $40. Maybe it's going to bounce. And, that's the mindset. They know this. And the players, dumped all the stock and, in my opinion, probably bought the entire float back and then ramped it up, supported it. They knew shorts were coming in, squeezed all of them out, sold into that, and then they walked again. So ideally, and I know I have a position short still, but I'd love to see this gap up 556 or higher. I mean, I'd take, but unlikely, but that's what I'd love. I covered most before the close, but either way, we'll see what happens. APRN, I'd love to see this thing continue to go. Nice little grinder. Very nice opportunity the other day. Basically using that 4 and 380 blow off, and ended up coming in. And obviously you saw the covers on the chart that I posted. Hopefully it continues to go. Super, super retail crowded. They're going nuts on Reddit and pumping it like crazy, and a couple other Twitter personalities. Gamma squeeze this, gamma squeeze that. The normal stuff that it works for like a week or two, and then nobody talks about it, and it fades all the way back down. So hopefully it continues to go. But the best thing about the super retail crowded trades are when they crack. I mean, they come in hard, and you saw that even with like the HTGM pump, where this thing was super, super heavy over 120s. Right over here. And this is the channel that I was talking about. So 120 and 110. And once it busted through, you can see that it completely unwound and gave a nice little unwind. And that's what happens when they're super, super retail crowded, which personally I love just because nobody sells. They start to break down. Everybody panics. And then it gives that extra big drop. So that's why I like to focus on some of these that are super retail crowded and promoted, for lack of a better word. CLVS, nice idea. This one was on scan due to the setup right over here. So you've got the first move, liquidity trap, starts to consolidate. Again, rips, huge volume. Start of a new liquidity trap, dips get bought, breaks out over that prior high, 190s, and away it went. So nice one there. I'm not necessarily short biased yet. It's pretty strong. So I'd love to see it kind of come into this level here. As long as it stays over 270s, has a weak open, flushes, consolidates, holds 270s, this could easily go 350 or more. I think a lot of shorts are probably bent on this thing. So be aware of that. I definitely would love to short it if it goes crazy, but I'm not there yet. I feel like there's there could be another trade if it pulls back and holds those 270s. So keep that on watch. AYTU had a nice move this week, ramped up, and it held on to an extent, but nothing I'm too crazy excited about. But the 70 level to me is sort of that I need to see it basing over 70s if it's going to consolidate and hold and build. I traded it on Thursday. It ramped up. I sold some both on Thursday and Friday ramps. But I have a core position just in case because they've got a catalyst on July 9th. I don't really know how big it is, but it doesn't matter in this market. If there's something to look forward to, people get excited about that. So I was hopeful that we'd see something where it ramped up to like $1.20 and gave another opportunity like that drama, GRMA, which went pretty crazy right over here. So I was hopeful we had something like that, or ENSC, something like this, where they kind of ramp up and then they give the short side as well. So that would be ideal, not just because I'm long, but also because I'd like to take both sides. After I get out of the long, just like you saw me do on the drama trade. After it ripped, switched to the short, covered, reshorted, and I ended up covering a little bit too early, but still nice nonetheless. FSRD, nice little ripper. These charts, this is what's working right now. You've got this little cleanup move. So, you saw that on CLVS. So this is kind of one of those things you should be taking notes for, what works. Where have you seen this before? The reason why I put CLVS on scan on Thursday was because of, you got the cleanup move, the liquidation trap, basically. And then you're seeing that same sort of situation here. And you've got this cleanup move, sits back, and then it holds a higher trend, ramps up, holds a higher trend, and then goes. So no position, not in. Hindsight, obviously, because, I'm just seeing it now on scan, and I wasn't really there on Friday. But that's the kind of setups that I'm looking for these types of plays to play out. Same thing on QD. We've got that cleanup move. Daily. Got the cleanup move over here, and then it's held since, and it finally broke over this prior resistance level. So if it holds over 115s, I'm interested. If it doesn't, forget about it. Same thing, MOBQ has no volume, but put this on scan a while ago. It's held oddly well, so no position. I'm not too crazy about it, but if it does start to set up, if it doesn't stop going down, I might dabble. But again, it's got no volume, so I'd rather wait for a 10, 20 million kind of share day. But it keeps on popping up on my scan, so I figured I'd watch it. But that's about it. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments section. As always, leave your key takeaway. We like to give away free stuff. We'll see you guys in the room, and have a fantastic rest of your weekend.